like, the show is really an ensemble drama that's a thrilling ride for everyone involved. We're going to get to know a lot of his staff as well, and they're going to have some pretty interesting storylines. Who is your character? What does he want?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that because we don't usually get to talk about our character arcs, right? So I play a guy named Seth Wright. He started out as a speechwriter, becomes press secretary.
As press secretary, you can help change that perception.
You want to parade me around as the president's friendly Muslim? So it's an interesting dynamic.
I feel like Emily, as far as I've read, at the end of the day, really wants what's best for people. Whether it's for Tom or for the country or for, you know, whoever it is that she's looking out for. I feel like she's a very considerate and very, like, very loyal. Like, she's got the best interests of whoever she's trying to take care of at heart. That being said, I feel like she can hold a good grudge.
It's basically finding that middle ground. Now, my character, Aaron Shore, he's the deputy chief of staff. When all of this happens, what falls into his lap is probably the scenario he had been dreaming about, probably in 5 or 10 years. But all of a sudden, in a day, he's right there.
This is going to be a weird question, but, like, do you like your character? Like, would you like him as a person if you knew him in real life?
Before I answer that, I have to say that there is a lot about this guy that you will find out eventually.
That's a creative way of asking the question.
Yeah, and in the beginning, the first glance, maybe you don't like him. You know, he's the guy that says a hard truth. He's the guy that maybe doesn't consider sentimentality, doesn't consider emotions. He does, but he thinks probably putting the country in a better position in the end or in the long run. And he has to make that call.
I love that you've got the three, what are now essentially the 3 senior advisors, you know, Talia's character, Aiden's character, and mine. But then you've got Maggie and
she's
almost
on an island.
We don't interact very often, right? We don't work even the same days. So I would love to see those all come together and coalesce somehow, just because I love watching them on screen, and Maggie and Malik especially, who I don't get the chance to have scenes with. I just think they're such great actors. I would love to work with them.
Are you saying that?
Yeah. They built a bomb shelter inside the U.S. Capitol.
I sort of feel like I'm I'm witnessing an inside the actor's studio and also getting to be a part of it at the same time. I mean, Virginia Madsen and Natasha and Cal, Aiden, everybody is just like mind blowing. I will just like randomly giggle sometimes to myself, be like, how did I get here?
Right.
I keep feeling like somebody's like, oh, we're just kidding. You can head back to ABC Family. I bought a bunch of chessboards because I hate showing up on set and everybody's on their phones and their chairs. Right. So I bought some chessboards. And now we're all constantly playing, and we'll stay after we've wrapped if we need to finish a game. Like, that's how...
How long is the longest game gone?
I think Kiefer and I probably max out around 25, 30 minutes.
I think to understand the inner workings of the White House is always interesting to me. And fortunately for us, we have a cast member named Cal Penn, who left acting and spent at least 2, if not 3 years working for President Obama. Yeah. So not only is he a friend and someone I have great respect for by virtue of his skill as an actor, he's someone that I lean on quite heavily for information.
Thank you, ma'am.
Alex, please.
No, ma'am. You're the First Lady.
I'm Canadian, so I especially didn't learn very much about American politics, so I'm just always kind of like, Cal, what does that mean?
Right.
How do I say this? So I'm all the time. The first day we worked together on the set, I had him walk me through the whole set and be like, what's different? What looks like it's actually like from the White House?
And what was his answer?
Everything here is much bigger. I mean, we've got to fit the cameras in, and he's good at pointing out the little things like, this would never happen. Or like somebody would open a door for me, and he's like, nobody would open your door.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, just let it happen.
Right. Are you sick of getting questions from people like me and Natalia Ritchie, for example, about your time in the White House?
No, I think it's a totally fair question. Right. Look, I have no right to, even if I was annoyed by it, I would have no right to get annoyed by it, and we haven't gotten to the place.
It's incredibly cool. It really is.
I loved it. By the way, I love that I have the opportunity to do that. And the thing I love the most is that there are literally thousands of people who do the exact same thing that I did, taking a leave of absence from their private sector career, and then they go back to what they were doing before. It's actually not a unique story, but I think it is unique to the United States, and it's a really amazing thing that you have the opportunity to do.
Up next,
I'm so curious. Why?
we get a private tour of the Toronto set with Ontario native Italia Ricci. And later,
They say you can't go home, but apparently you can.
Kiefer's latest star turn brings him home. And his co-stars try to share his enthusiasm.
Now you're asking me in October, let's talk in February.
That's coming up when ETAlk presents Designated Survivor returns.